Guest today is Herb Mallard, and he's going to speak about the sex trade and how children are abducted and become sex slaves. He has been upfront and personal with this issue and has written a book that he will be discussing. We met in Washington, D.C. when we were having the protests at the International Parental Abduction Candlelight Vigils, and now he is a board member. So, Herb, would you like to discuss your book first?
Yes, I think that would be germane right now. We have come out with a book. It's going to be published shortly.
Would you like to discuss it?
This is the front page and the back page, and this is another thing. But what we have here is pictures of child abduction, primarily in Saudi Arabia, of U.S. children. Now, right here we have children that have disappeared, that have never been seen. They're milk carton children. We believe that these children were probably special ordered, and this is why they've never been seen again. When they're brought to Saudi Arabia, or when they start being processed, they call them product. And this here is a picture of a child, a girl, that has been kidnapped, and she's in the process of shock. How can this happen to me? She doesn't know what's happening. And she's being processed and conditioned. Then they end up like this here. They end up with the arbayas, and you can't tell if they're male or female. You can't tell if they're Saudi Arabian. You cannot tell if they're English, U.S. citizens, whatever. Right here we have two women, young girls, with arbayas. One is blonde and blue-eyed. Now, there aren't many of those in Saudi Arabia. She was probably special ordered. Then this woman here has dark eyes, either black or brown eyes. This one here is a woman that probably a girl that was filmed, and she's definitely not Saudi Arabian, but she has her Banus on. Again, right here is how they come in.
Explain what process means, Herb.
Well, processing is a matter of conditioning. This is what's used. Life magazine had in one of their issues a picture of Prince Jeffrey's sex girls, his sex slaves. These girls were all processed and everything like that. That is in issue 12 of StateDepartment.com. We have StateDepartment.com as well. And many of these issues are discussed in those 40 many of these issues is discussed in those 40 issues.
You want to tell how they're abducted?
Yes, they're abducted, say in the United States, by freelancers or special ordered. Special ordered is where they see one child and they know that they can get a great deal of money for that child.
How much money?
Well, let's a blonde, blue-eyed child, a John Benet Ramsey, or a Eton Peltz from New York City. He was the first milk carton boy. Madeline McCain. They can command as much as $500,000 to $1 million on the end.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is, and it's unfortunate that there's a lot of grief left behind with the families.
Mm-hmm. So they're taken from where? So are you saying that the McCain child, you believe, is into the slave trade?
Most probably. In the Middle East, it's good luck if you have a child with something unique. And Madeline had an eye deformity. She had a little white cyst or something in her eye. She was probably special ordered and taken to Morocco. Morocco is where a great deal of the buyers and sellers get together.
Mm-hmm. So, are they mainly in Saudi Arabia, or how do they bring them back into the country?
Well, when they are, initially what happens is a Saudi princes will get around and they'll be given videos of the child, let's say John Benet Ramsey or whatever, Madeleine McCain, that's taken surreptitiously. They're given these and then they're asked if they want to bid on them, bid on product, and the product will be bid on in Morocco, in a third country, and the princes will either come or bid, take their telephone bids, exactly like you'd find in Sotheby's or one of the other auction houses.
Mm. Now, I understand that you told me once that they go through 3 different countries, though, not directly to the country. Is that right? They're shipped from one country to 3 different countries, so they can't keep track of them?
Yes, there's always a third country. They never go from the United States directly to Saudi Arabia. There's always a third country so that there's plausibility of denial.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense.
It does. It does. Now,
we actually know someone that had her children taken to Saudi Arabia, don't we?
That's correct, we do. And a lot of these women, it's very, very emotional. It used to be that the children were taken from bus stops, train stations, by gangs or freelancers looking for runaways. Then they went to shopping malls and looked around and knowing full well what they could get for a child. We're talking top-of-the-line child product. Now they're taking them from mothers, drugged mothers that are taking drugs. At some point, they're willing to sell their children. And this makes it very convenient because you don't have somebody going to the police.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now here, we have another woman here that is distinctly not Saudi Arabian, and she's in her banus. Now, this is King Fahad here, and Bandar bin Sultan with George Bush II. Bandar was the ambassador for King Fahad. King Fahad. Now, over here, when King Fahad died, King Abdullah inherited the crown of Saudi Arabia. In the middle is his new ambassador, a very bright fellow, went to Georgetown, named Adil Jaber. And he is quieter, and they keep things as quiet as possible. They have a very vicious group of lobbyists in Washington that they're sort of enforcers. But we have to realize that this is a different culture. Now, the reason why this book came out was that we talked to one of King Abdullah's wives, and King Abdullah had a very difficult time with this wife because she wanted her children, her girls, 3 girls, to go to be allowed into London and stay in London, get out of Saudi Arabia. Abdullah did not want that because he did not want any embarrassment to his crown as king with his daughters running around London, so he wouldn't let them out. The book coincides with this, the strife between the mother and the father and the daughters. It's really heartrending, and it shows the difficulty some of these people have that have titles or power and don't want unnecessary embarrassment to their title or power. There is another one thing, though, Marianne, and that is that Abdullah travels around with his body parts. He has live body parts. Wherever he goes, his body parts go with him. These are people. Something goes wrong with Abdullah, one of these people comes up and they give him as their liver, kidneys, whatever. This means that some of these people are instantly killed to harvest their body parts. That shows the insensitivity towards people. People are considered chattels, product, etc.
How about the movie that we both saw, the video on the Afghanistan dancing boys? Do you know about that?
Yes, I saw that on one of the internet programs. Within the Middle East, there's a great deal of homosexuality, especially in the Sword family. And they have little boys and little girls.
And what they do? Tell them what they do. They dress them up?
Yes, they dress them up. Some of these are for dignitaries, such as issue 12 of StateDepartment.com is a picture of the sex slaves that are given to dignitaries, ambassadors, whatever, that come into town. They have a party in this house discotheque, and these dignitaries can have any child they want.
We're going to take a break now, and we'll be right back.
Perfect. So yeah, now you got
Like
the
that.
start.
It was a little rocky at first because I...
No, that's okay. It was fine.
There's a movie called Taken, and
That's
I told
frightening.
the baby watch it, and it really talks about everything that you're saying.
I can't see that movie. I saw part of it once and I got very
Came to the
depressed.
airport with a
You
friend
actually...
and met this guy, and they ended up kidnapping both girls, and you see how they take them to this like chicken coops, and they chain them to the beds, drug them out, and take their pictures, and then at the end you see all the wealthy people in this auction, like in a circle, and they all have phones next to them, and they're all bidding on pictures and these kids. It's really, it's we live in a screwed up world.
But, Herb, you were actually in amongst these people, right?
Yes, what I do is I've been with them at parties, these oligarchs.
Okay.
See, most of the books that you find, these nitty-gritty guys, investigative journalists that are down in the brothels or in things like that, I'm on the extreme high end. I see these people that are in charge of the sex slaves, in charge of armaments trades, in charge of drugs trades. They're at cocktail
You're
parties,
actually
dinner parties.
there at the parties.
Yeah, they're just
Well, you're going to talk
oligarchs.
about this, so
Yeah.
let's get you back on the air. Ready?
Okay, that's what I want you to talk about.
Ready?
Yeah. All right, Herb, let's talk about how you really interacted and actually were at these high-end parties. Is that right?
Yes, I initially started because I was working for King Fahad's prior business partner and King Fahad's nephews, Saudi Arabia. I was sending, they specifically wanted Vietnam veteran to work in Saudi Arabia. And what they really wanted was to use these fellows as examples by torturing them. And Muhammad got up and he said, I can do this to American Vietnam veterans, I can do this to you. And he said that to all the other 700 employees, who immediately stood up and said, my God. One of these individuals died, and this is how I got into it, and this is how I met Mary.